Yes, the city of Milton, the town of Milton, and the Milton Fire Department.
On the, I'm sorry. Oh, I thought maybe that was conference call, maybe. On the agenda, is it revised agenda here? Everybody,
Move for approval of the agenda.
Second.
motion and second to approve the agenda. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Minutes from July 20th.
I move to approve the minutes from July 20th.
Second.
Motion and second. You got that, Jenny? Yep. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Public participation, anything the public wants to approach the commission on, it's not otherwise on the agenda. Hearing none, we'll move on to old business. 5A is the union contract. Chief, do you want to describe what you're want to present here?
Absolutely. So I think we have a pretty close to finalized contract to present to you folks. I apologize for the last minute couple of emails to last night, this morning, and today. We had a couple of small revisions that I wanted to forward on to you. Like I said, I did email all of you a copy of it. That's the one thing that I didn't have a hard copy of. If anybody needs one, please let me know, and I'll get you a hard copy of it.
So any changes that the staff was involved in, those are highlighted in red?
Correct. That is correct.
Anything else, Chief, on the presentation of what you worked on here with the union contract?
Other than that, I just had to do an update of the new full-time positions as far as the firefighter, MPO, EMT. I had to put in the wage scale for the amount of hours that they worked. The dollar an hour stayed the same, but obviously the yearly amount went up because of the increase in hours that they did for the year. So there's a hard copy of that in the packet that I handed out to you guys just a little bit ago.
Do you care to highlight the changes or inserts to the contract that the staff was concerned about?
Yeah, we could cover that.
Because I haven't had a time to digest that part of it since you sent it out, but
Absolutely.
I mean, I see them, but
Right. Basically, we just wanted to make sure that everybody was included as far as the who was recognized. Before we just basically had the full-time EMTs. Now we kind of have a variety of people, including paramedics, EMTs, NPOs, and the administrative assistant. So we just wanted to make sure that everybody was included on that. The second part that they were asking for or hoping for was having to deal with the clothing allowance. Every year they're looking for a $300 clothing allowance, which would allow them to buy uniforms, things of that nature. And obviously, if they didn't use it that particular year, if they could carry that over to probably help purchase more expensive things in the next year.
For the entire year?
So, say if they, say they get a $300 allowance this year, say they didn't use it all for the year, could they carry that over to next year? Say if they have $150 left next year, they would have $450 for that year to purchase, clothing and things like that.
and the staff felt that this was important to be in this union contract rather than just a policy that the department would create.
I believe so, yeah. I believe so. Because it is different than our current, part-time employees. That dollar amount is quite a bit different.
The dollar amount is quite a bit different?
Yeah, as of right now.
This shouldn't need this much time, I'm so sorry. Who currently keeps track of, is this a Jenny thing that,
Actually, one of the individuals on the
I mean, it would seem logical that if they're gonna get an allowance, that we'd secure the ability to use it. I mean, it seems logical, but
Chief, could you clarify for me? This is clothing allowance. This is not, departmental equipment, correct? Yeah.
yeah, and the first part of that paragraph, kinda describes that.
Yeah, I guess.
I would like to suggest then that the township representatives and the city council representatives take the copies back to their respective groups and give them copies to go through and then bring those back at our September meeting to discuss if there's any concerns and hopefully vote on it at that time.
Is that a motion?
Yes. Yes. I don't know, I should restate it.
Is there a second on that, and we'll have discussion?
Second.
So, I assume or I understand that since this is a contract service or a contract in general, that's why you'd like to see the municipal bodies take this on and
Yes, I
review
do
that.
think, since they're looking at, they had just agreed to an MOU for working with Edgerton and the other townships. I also think that this impacts their agreements down the road, and so this obviously needs to be reviewed by them as well.
Any further discussion on the motion? And all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
If there are any questions, President Jason Dascom is in the audience tonight. Do you guys have any questions for him?
Okay.
I think if questions do come up, Jason, we could then let you know the night of our meeting to attend. Okay. Thank you. I don't know if any of you have any questions that are seated out there, or?
I had some mixed feelings about voting yes on it, but, I think it's a good thing to do. I didn't see anything in it that disturbs me or troubles me. I think it's more a matter of informing the municipalities of, what's there and so on.
So I want to be clear, the motion and vote was not to approve the contract, it was to forward the contract to the municipal bodies further for review.
And bring it back it would be approved here. It's the commission's business to approve it.
It is.
For sort of review by the bodies.
And perhaps I stated that, but because they've all just recently approved the MOU between those parties, I think everyone does need to be involved in this process before that approval takes place.
For the sake of transparency.
Correct.
So Teresa, when you're saying the municipalities, are you just talking about the city of Milton and the town of Milton?
Yes.
Okay.
If there's nothing further on the union contract discussion, we'll move forward. Item B, discussion and possible action regarding the proposed IGA with the Edgerton Fire Protection District. So I guess I'll give an update. The initial presented version had been voted on by Lima, Johnstone, Harmony, Milton Township, and the City of Milton. Changes were proposed to it, so it's making its rounds back again for a vote on a revised version of that IGA. to, not only to these 5 municipalities, but also the existing 5 municipalities in the Edgerton district. The proposed changes there's no substantive changes conceptually in the agreement. There was concern by some municipalities that it needed to include within one document part of our language we used in our petition for membership. So some language was moved to the intergovernmental agreement that already existed in the original petition for membership. One example of that is the intergovernmental agreement didn't show a financial commitment by the petitioning municipalities. That was only in the petition and MOU, and internal agreement, intergovernmental agreement amongst us, these 5 municipalities. There are municipalities that wanted to see that in the final intergovernmental agreement, so that language was moved, copied and pasted, basically. So those were the kind of things that they wanted to see updated on it. I believe out of the 10 municipalities, at least 6 of them have acted and approved this last version of it that included those comments. And so we'll continue to finish who's meeting on voting on this yet in their individual municipal meetings. So that's kind of the update on where the intergovernmental agreement stands right now. Is there anything else somebody would like to discuss about the status of the IGA?
I do not with the IGA. However, my apologies, I do have 3 questions going back to 5A. If I might.
Oh, yeah.
We asked if you had questions out in the audience, and I saw you raise your hand. I'm sorry, I don't
I'm
know your
sorry.
name. No, you don't.
Working there, we were allowed to hear that over. I didn't know if that had any impact on what you guys are saying.
Perfect.
So that's consistent with what Edgerton already does?
It's a good point. And then going to that same point with the dollars, Jeremy, I felt as if you said you're not sure that we have the amount necessary for that. Does that impact how our vote goes, or?
I'm not 100% sure if we would be able to make the $300 amount for all of our employees. This is just for the full-time employees at this time.
Got it. And so
That's my concern.
with that, how does that impact our vote?
So basically that amount is just for, just for the contract that covers the full-time employees. So that's all that vote is for.
I see. Okay.
That's all it is for.
All right. And then the third thing, can Jenny, because this is something then that each municipality is going to have a conversation about, can you forward this to our clerks with just so that they can get it out to all of the board members that are not on the fire commission? Yes. Thank you so much.
So back to 5B, is there any other input or discussion on where the IGA is currently? So I anticipate Lima's meeting is the last Wednesday of the month or the 4th Wednesday of the month or something like that. So they're probably the last one that may meet. We'll see, but that's anticipated to at least be in front of them for vote. All right, then, if there's nothing further on 5B, then we'll move to item 6, new business. Discussion possible action regarding fire inspections. This is carried over from discussion last month, Chief.
And I brought to the fire commission last month that we were looking at the possibility or suggesting that we go back to doing our own fire inspections for multiple reasons. Some of the biggest ones also include, so our members can get back into the buildings and they can learn how things are put together, and especially the larger buildings, as the community grows. It'd be great knowledge for them. I think it's more personable, and we did have some issues with the outside inspector. That's kind of one of the bigger reasons why I'm bringing this forward to the commission. With that said, though, they have almost completed all the inspections for this year, except for the ones that we do twice a year, which includes the schools and some of the bigger factories. That is definitely something that we could take care of, obviously, this fall when school gets open, and finish up the year. When I looked into the minor contract that we have with this company, and basically the only thing that was in there is that they asked for a 30-day notice if we decide to move on to something else.
So historically, we did our own inspections. What would generally be the impact, if any, on cost, hours invested? I mean, we're paying for a contract service anyway, but gut feeling on any impact on our budgeting?
I really don't believe it would change much. We do use our 2% funds for that. That's what it's mainly for. So as far as budgeting goes, I think we would be just fine. Our 2% dues do cover that whole cost. So I believe that we were paying our past fire inspectors that was basically their only job. We were paying them anywhere between, I believe, 15 and 18,000 for the year. I believe the contracted company is going to be right around 13 or 14,000. So I don't see a big issue with the budgeting side of it.
So I don't know how everybody feels about moving back to our own inspections and eliminating this contract with this contract service. But I think it would be appropriate, if you want to move forward with that the commission direct it to just take some of the pressure off of the decision to being made by the staff.
I'm strongly in favor of it for precisely the reasons that Jeremy is stating. I think we have more continuity if we're doing it internally. It's more likely that a responder is going to have some familiarity as opposed to an outside contractor that's going to be nowhere to be found. So I really support it. I think it's a really good idea.
And my experience has been with other departments that I've been involved with over the years, that resolution of problems is more effective because they know the people that are walking into the building and talking to them.
And I am aware of a couple or a few concerns with the contract service. I think I said last month, I don't know the details of any of it at all, but I know that there have been concerns.
Will it result in a scheduling snafu, or is that something that we can make them, move with a motion forward on, and then have you guys seamlessly pick it up?
Yeah, we could seamlessly pick it up. Some of our individuals, our employees, actually have gotten started on it as far as putting everything into a program to make things easier for us if or when we do get started up again. So I see it being pretty seamless if this is something that you would want to approve.
I move to give our current inspection company a 30-day notice with the knowledge that we would then, as Milton Fire Department, move forward to do our own inspections. Sorry.
I'll second that.
Motion and second.
Any further discussion on the motion? All in favor then say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
6B, discussion possible action regarding the Milton hiring policy. I haven't had a chance to digest this. I just printed it out today. So you have does the policies include any reference to screening?
Yeah, it's two separate ones. One's for screening and the other one's our hiring process.
First 2 pages.
Should be 2 sets of paperwork. Two sets of paperwork.
At the top where it says policy 1.2 is the applicant screening.
don't see 1.2 in front of me here.
I don't either, I have two 1.1s with different dates on them.
If you see where it says guideline, underneath the guideline it says applicant screening, and then hiring process.
Got it. Anybody have a highlighter?
A what?
A highlighter in the? That's all right, I'll just circle it, thank you. For whatever reason, and it's gotta be that I just don't have something downloaded on my computer, but I could not open these documents on an Apple device, and then I went to my Windows, and I couldn't open it there either.
Okay.
So I personally don't feel comfortable if we need to make a decision on these tonight, because I haven't read them at all. But if it's otherwise, maybe I'll just abstain from a motion if you all feel comfortable.
Do you want my copy, Beth?
No, I've got it. Okay. Thank you. Now, I mean.
Sorry.
Chief, there was existing policy, right? For
There-
this, or not? I
I'm
just
gonna-
wanna clarify.
I'm gonna be honest with you, we did have things that we followed. However, it was not in policy form, so now it is.
So is this something the commission wants to review and come to some point where it blesses the policy, or how do you feel about moving forward on this?
Is there urgency, chief, for this, based on people you got in process and?
No, I don't feel that it is.
So I'm still not seeing the two sets.
Right here. So, it says hiring process and
Oh,
applicant
okay.
screening, if you wanna circle it.
Yeah, just confusing that it says 1.1
Yeah, it
for
does.
both. What's your?
I'd prefer to review it for, till the next meeting if there is not an urgency about it. But
Put it on the next agenda for discussion again and possible action.
I'll try to send those in a different form to you.
I mean, it just,
Was it a Word document, was it, or PDF?
These were
Yeah.
PDFs. I can try and send it in a form.
but it didn't come through as a PDF.
Really?
I mean, I can
You
open
had-
PDFs.
Okay.
You had to pull it up and then double click on it. I did it on Apple.
yeah, there was.
You had to double click on it again to download. It was confusing, but you had to do it twice.
I'm working on a little sleep,
I-
sorry.
Well,
For once, I didn't have a
Now,
problem.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
so, but yes, it didn't
Right.
come out the first time. You had to,
Gotta ask one of the kids to help you.
yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I was with my dad with Alzheimer's, he was not gonna be helping me
My
today.
7-year-old granddaughter got it.
You maybe could send it in Word, I don't know. Word tends to open up better, but
I
that's
can try
just.
that.
But no, it looked good.
Okay.
Very nice.
Yeah, for all intents and purposes, it looks great, I'm sorry, I'm just
No, but
not well versed on it yet.
So,
Do you need a move to table it, or,
I think we should clarify it for the record, or what you want to do.
I would move we table it until our next meeting and reconsider it at that time.
Motion, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Teresa. All in favor, say aye.
I-
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Then 6C, discussion possible action regarding an update to the current office. Discussion about the security windows. So this was brought up last month. Jenny, why don't you explain to us again what the purpose of this security window was for and what it would take?
Okay, when Chief Banker was the fire chief, we did some restructuring of the office downstairs. And if you used to come in the front door, you could kind of go, right into where my office and Pete is at. Well, we put up like a countertop, so it stops traffic, so they have to come in and they have to stop right there. Well, then second set of that, what he was going to do was put a security window there, so any possible danger would kind of stop. right there. So when Linda Clark was in there a couple months ago, she came to bring us cake actually, and she was asking about it too. So we just never got any further when Chief Banker left. It's kind of the only office within the city and township that's not secured like that.
Yeah, but they keep people out there too.
So what do you think it would take, or how significant of a cost or project would this be?
Are there plans already that were drawn up?
No, there was not.
I mean, I can definitely look into it and get quotes if the commission would like me to.
I mean,
do that.
it'd be nice to know, because if we're buying prefab plexiglass screening walls and stuff, I mean, this could range anywhere from $300 to $3,000, and
Correct.
having, so knowing relevantly what we're talking about to achieve that, and so we can make sure that we find the appropriate budget funds.
Sure.
I don't mean to speak, but I'll speak anyway, maybe as an idea. We may also want to converse with Public Works on helping install that, perhaps,
Okay.
possibility. I'm just throwing that out, so.
And even in the possibility of this Edgerton model and using this station until two more are built, and then both of them have to be operational, the new stations. This is gonna be at least 2-3 years of use, at least.
Yeah, if Public Works is an option, I think that would be the best way to go, because plexiglass is one thing, but that's not an actual safety precaution.
Right.
If we're talking from COVID, from that type of thing, sure, but not if it's from an intruder or whatever, in which case you would need something that's more permanent.
At least for the installation part, right, save a little money there. I'm not trying to speak for Mark and his staff,
But we'll definitely start working on that. So,
So we'll try to address this next month, if we have information available at that time. I realize some people are gonna have to put some figures together and design together, or at least a preliminary design.
Right, you could even contact Chief Scott Marquardt to
Sure.
see what the design would be. Is it a small part of the window for security and then something else beyond that?
All right, then, brings us to item 7, Chief's report.
all right, July was another busy month for us. We responded to 122 calls of service. That's one of the top ones we've had in quite some time, so we've been quite busy. July's training included ladder operations, hose advancement, fire streams, water supply, and for EMS, we did advanced skills checkoff. So that was our training for July. Just some updates. We are in the process of onboarding some new employees. I think in the end we'll probably be up to between 5 and 6 employees in the coming month. So that's pretty exciting. I believe a couple of them are already paramedics and some firefighters and EMTs. So that's going to help us out. As far as our FAT money, we did receive that. We did receive our normal amount, which was just under $7,000. And this year they did a bonus to that. We got a initial $12,195 to help us with that. And then if we do use that up and we need more, we could possibly get another $12,000 on top of that for EMS training and equipment. Some of those funds have already somewhat been allocated to update our MDTs and other things. So I could see us end up using basically the computers that are in the ambulance that we can use to, it shows the calls, it shows the CAD as far as direction, how to get there, and any updates that the 911 center puts in there. We can also use those for doing our EMS reports as well. So kind of a multi-use kind of thing. So that was pretty exciting. Funds that we didn't anticipate. So it's a great thing. As far as the flex grant goes, the one that pretty much everybody in the state was kind of working on, we have not heard any updates on that as of yet. I did talk to Chief Pickering yesterday, and I don't believe he has heard anything either. So that's still being worked on or in the process of. So, as far as the new UTV goes, that is currently getting all the emergency lighting, radios, and stuff installed. So hopefully we will have that back next week, and the new trailer should be delivered at the end of the month. So that should be in service by next month if everything goes as planned. Then the old one will go up for sale. Currently, we're looking at doing silent bids, unless the commission wishes we did anything different.
What about, and then just, this is off the cuff here, what about doing a raffle for it?
Yeah, again, I'm open.
I don't know what a good idea is.
Suggestions, that may take a little bit of doing, as far as, putting everything together for that. So I don't know what kind of timeline, the commission would be looking for to get reimbursed for some stuff.
What's the sense of what it might be worth, or?
I would like to put a minimum bid on it, as far as, approximately $5,000 is the minimum bid. So I certainly would get at least that much or more.
And what about the trailer aspect of it?
We were on the fence of doing a package deal or a separate deal. I did look into the different trailer companies as far as if they'd take it in on trade, and unfortunately they were not interested in that. So I did try. So that's kind of where we sit with that. We do have a couple of, I don't necessarily want to call spare utility vehicles, but we do have a couple of utility vehicles that we don't use very often. And we were thinking about maybe moving those on. So if we could potentially put those on, I don't know if any of you heard of Wisconsin Surplus. Basically the bidding site, that's something we could use too.
For the old trailer, you mean?
Yeah, potentially, and the utility vehicles, so we could, do a few things. If we didn't want to do a package deal.
So I'm not familiar with what the other utility vehicles might be that you're talking about disposing of.
We have I believe it's a 2007 Trailblazer, and off the top of my head, I think it's maybe a 2008 pickup truck.
They're not set up for like brush fighting or anything like that?
Not this time,
Command
no.
vehicles or
No, no.
staff vehicles, or? So we have a newer command vehicle that
Yes.
suffices? or-
Correct.
Don't
And we
need
have a
those.
new utility vehicle as well for pulling the UTV or the boat or whatever we need. So,
So I suppose on the disposing of some assets, that should be, a commission should discuss that and come to some conclusion on authorizing disposal of department property.
What is the cost to list them on Wisconsin Surplus?
I don't believe there's much of a cost to the seller. I believe the buyer pays that portion of it, the buyer's fee. So,
It works pretty well.
Yeah.
I mean,
Do you set a minimum cost that you would?
I don't know if I think we might be able to, but yeah, it's just basically an auction, that's kind of how it works, yeah. So,
Oh,
I,
we must have at least $5,000.
yeah, I don't necessarily think you can do that, so you
Oh.
kind of have to be prepared to, maybe not get as much as you want.
Yeah,
We,
because-
we were very fortunate when we did use it last time, when we did sell our old brush truck on that particular site. Yeah, we did very well on that. I was shocked, to be honest with you. So,
I should have sold these a year ago.
yeah,
Well, the cost of vehicles,
yeah, they're
going
up
up,
there, right?
so-
That's for sure.
So you want
Sure.
a future agenda item to act on disposal of
yeah.
a couple of utility vehicles? We already made decisions on the ATV and the trailer, but
Why don't you bring in, a list for us
Absolutely.
to go from,
Absolutely.
and then we can vote on it.
Okay. Just one more thing, so you all are aware, the chief officers from both Milton and Edgerton Fire Department have begin meetings as far as the transition. So we are making advancements as far as that goes, trying to come up with prioritizing all the things that we need to talk about. That list is currently very large. So we are trying to, like I said, put things in priority, split up into some groups, so certain individuals can tackle things that they're good at. So yeah, we're working on it.
Good. Anything else for the chief, or questions, or? All right. If there's nothing further than President's report.
There is no report tonight.
Any other general items? Nothing else to discuss at this time? Motion would be in order to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Jim, second
Oh,
by
you finally
Teresa.
spoke up.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. We are adjourned. Thank you.